All right, ladies, gentlemen, and other, we are going to be discussing chords today. Now, I do play lefty. I actually did play right-handed for a long time, so when we get into physically playing the chords, I'll switch over so it's easier to see. Right now, that's not what we're doing. We're going to be covering some stuff that I guarantee that you've never heard before. I don't know why. Just most teachers don't know it. So here are like the main issues that I see when people are playing chords. General is, of course, the stretch to begin with, right? Like it's hard to get fingers out. It's also hard to keep fingers from bumping into the string next to them so that it doesn't make a noise at all. If this is a C chord, a lot of times what you'll hear is, you know, like it's just not cool. So first thing we need to do is you have to make sure that your fingers are basically straight up and down to the string. So here's what that looks like. Do, do, do. Here is the finger. See how like I get it to the point where it doesn't lean and it doesn't, like your nail doesn't bump into the string next to it. It has to be right on the middle of the string. Second thing, it needs to be as close to the metal bar as possible. Now I hear tons of people talk about this and they're like, oh no, it needs to be in the middle of the fret. That's true, but no, it's not. When you're a more advanced player, there is a slightly better tone to being in the middle of the fret, but it's also more work. It's just straight up more work. I'll show you guys an example of that later on when we get into scales and just general finger positions. Right now we're just dealing with chords. So the closer you get to the metal bar, the easier it is to push. That means less effort, it sounds better. That's what we want, right? So what we're gonna do is work on hand position first of all. Now, if you do classical lessons, classical is really gonna be the best technique for anything but real guitar. Sad to say, but true. If it's on the radio, chances are you're not going to be using classical technique for it. Classical is the best technique overall, and you can tell when somebody's had classical training and it shows. But it doesn't really help with playing power chords. It doesn't really help with lead guitar. In fact, I would go so far as to say that most classical players probably could never play lead guitar. There are some exceptions. Randy Rhoads was classically trained, and everybody will always bring that up. Oh, the guy from Ozzy, he played classical. Yeah, he did. But you'll find very quickly that even with a standardized training that it just doesn't correlate. I had a teacher who had played for, I don't know, 30 years, had her master's degree in classical guitar performance, and we went into class one day and she said, oh, we went on a camping trip and they taught us how to improvise on 2 strings. I'd never tried it before. It's fun. It's worlds apart, man. Absolutely worlds apart. You can hear it very specifically in singing. You can tell when somebody's had classical training and can't get out of that mode because they just don't sound right on anything. They don't sound like country. They don't sound like rock. All they can do is something that's very proper and generally annoying. So what we're trying to do is deal with the real world. So we need these fingers to be up and down, straight as possible. 1 finger per fret is going to be the basic stretch. And in order to do that, most people start with their first finger and work up. That is wrong. That is backwards. Here's why. Pinky is your shortest finger. Most people pick up the guitar this way, which means that what's already your shortest finger is even farther away. That doesn't work. So what we need to do is start with pinky and then make these other fingers shrink back so that we can get 1 finger in every fret comfortably. Now, even if we do that, it may not be, in fact, a lot of people, if you have larger fingers, if you have a smaller hand, it's going to be a problem at first. It does not mean insurmountable. There are plenty of people that you can see to the contrary. They figure it out. But you have to prepare for that. This is going to be the basic stretch. You need to make your hand be able to do this. So if you can't get it where the frets are down here, where we play most of our chords, then you need to start up here. The frets are smaller. And yes, this is up. Up is pitch. Okay, this is down. We will be doing that again. So start someplace and just make sure you can get 1 finger in every fret. When we're doing chords, sometimes we're going to have our thumb in the middle of the back of the neck. That's going to give us our best reach and keep our fingers straight enough so they don't bump into another string. However, like for instance, if I'm playing a G chord, see where my thumb is? It's flitting around the top there, you see it? The reason I do that is because of the angle it creates with my fingers in my hand. My hand's actually angling away a little bit. We can't do that for every chord. We are going to do it for a lot of them though. So it just depends on what we're playing. So the short and simple for this particular lesson is going to be, if you're having trouble with chords, if you're having trouble with stretches, it's probably your thumb. Here's what I mean. If I put my thumb here and try and do one finger in a fret, see, I can't even get, I mean, this is an honest attempt right now. I'm on the 2nd fret. I can't get to the 5th fret with my pinky. And if I do, it's barely. They won't go. But if I do this, now all of a sudden, I can stretch pretty tremendous amounts. And it's all because my thumb is on the far side of the neck closest to the ground. So if you're having trouble with the stretch, it means that your hand position sucks. Okay? Now the thing that I see most beginners do is, if I say, this isn't good, you need to have your thumb in the middle of the neck, they say, okay, I'll move it here. No. Okay? That didn't change your hand at all. It changed your thumb, but it's not doing us any good. We need your thumb directly behind. It's going to work out to be somewhere in between your 1st and 2nd finger most of the time when you're playing chords, but that's what we squeeze against. So if it isn't somewhere to the point where it's like right between your 1st and 2nd finger, I'm assuming you guys know what a 1st and 2nd finger is. If not, we've got other videos for that. You're probably going to have a tough time. So that is going to be the short version for what we're doing right now. We're going to do some exercises about how to switch next.